What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Devy Royale YouTube channel. We're back today with a different type of video for you. So we're going to do a Devy mock, but we're doing the 2023 class, the rookie class included. So we're doing a combined rookie Devy mock, 23, 24, 25, and 26 classes all in there. And this is going to help because I know some Devy leagues, you do a combined rookie and Devy draft. Now, you might not be able to, you can kind of exclude the 23 class if you're like that and see where these guys are going. Maybe some of these guys that didn't get picked in your Devy leagues are still in there and you can look at value. Also, this can help you with trades and value and just have some fun with like, hey, where are these guys located? If we look at like, where does Dante Moore go with with CJ Stroud or is Caleb Williams still the 101 in all formats? And so this helps you identify value, which is the toughest part about college fantasy today, like just trying to identify value and how you do it. So we try to be a little bit different on the channel, give you a little different mock drafts and try to just be a little bit different in terms of what value we're providing for you. So if you like that, while the intro is going, hit that like button, maybe subscribe, or maybe let me talk and let's see if I earn that sub. But before then, I'm gonna hit the intro, then we'll dive into this mock. All right. Like I said, we're going to do mock. We're going to do combined mock. Now, it's 7 rounds. So we're going deep on this bad boy for you guys out there. So give us some love on that like button. But let's go to the first round. So we got Caleb Williams. No shock there. He's pretty much the 101 in all formats, even in combined thing like this. So Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe a shock over Bijan, but the way people are building rosters right now and just dynasty altogether, and Devy, wide receiver is going to play there. And we're going to highlight him in a little while. We're going to talk about Marvin. But overall, those are the two guys, right? Then you got Bijan Robinson, the 103. And then you go quarterbacks. You got CJ Bryce and Anthony Richardson. I think it's interesting to note Anthony Richardson being where he's at in Florida and in terms of where his value is at right now. I think you have to really like that. Like, and if you have Anthony Richardson and you're maybe not as sold as you think you are in Anthony, and you're not going to take that risk, think of what you can get for him at that 106 mark, right? Think of the value that's there. And I think that's the important thing in these mocks when we do these in the combined ones is understanding like Anthony, you might be able to get a 2-for-1 deal right now. If you don't believe in Anthony, you're like, hey, there's a lot of question marks about him, but you had him in Devy and you're excited about him because he was a value. You can get a return on investment, right? Now it's a risk. Maybe he goes top 5 and he becomes what we think of he can become a fantasy just stud. But if not, like this allows you to understand where that value at and the value piece is there. Now, in the second half of the first round, you're going to have Jahmyr Gibbs, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Brock Bowers, who obviously, looking at the tight end perspective, the last dynasty mock that we did with Devy included, he was tight end 3. So he is getting valued pretty high in this format. Drake May at 110. And again, a lot of people like Drake May in terms of like, hey, he's a transcendental prospect and he's better than Caleb Williams. Now, we're not there yet here at the channel, but hey, he's there at the 110. Raheem Sanders and Nicholas Singleton sneaking into the 112. I haven't seen Singleton that high recently, but he's gotten back in there. So I think it just really depends on where the mock's at and who the value is. But that's just in general Devy, right? So when we're talking about it overall, that's what you're looking at. Now, again, like I've been mentioning, and if you're our Patreon, we talked about this in the manifesto. There's really only 3 quarterbacks I'm comfortable taking: Drake and Caleb, and then we're going to talk about Drew Aller here in the second round. That's where they're going. That's where the value's at. And that's kind of what you see, right? Now, as far as a player just outlook, Marvin Harrison Jr., he caught at the pro day, the Ohio State's pro day, and they say, hey, the Lamborghini's there. They're just waiting for it. And I think he's going to be it'd shock me to see him not be a top 10 pick next year in the draft. Like, that's where the value's at. That's why he's going as wide receiver 2. He's our wide receiver 1 in terms of value and where he's at. But, strengths for his good ball skills, size, footwork, right? Like, you're looking at that. His ball skills are second to none in college football, and he's still learning. And he gained all that weight. Biggest thing is from his freshman sophomore year, he did put on some pounds, and so now he's going to be able to play with that muscle mass and have another year of maturity. He's going to freaking be a monster next year, and that's going to be something to watch, right? Footwork is great off the line, all that elite speed. I don't know if he's ever going to have elite speed there, but I think that's something that he'll work on as he goes. But this kid is special, right? So when you're looking at that top 3 pick, I mean, he's pretty much dialed in as a top 3 pick right now in these kind of combined mocks. Now we're gonna go to the second round and kind of look at this. Trayvon Henderson jumping in there at 201 still, I think, is a value. I mentioned him when we went through the running back class, the 2024 class. Quentin Johnston there at 202. Emeka Egbuka, 203. Braylon Allen, 204. Grinch Judkins at 205. I think that shocked me a little bit because he was going in the first round before these guys. Then we combined it, and he did not go in that first round. So I think Judkins' value is kind of shifting. So that might be something to note as you kind of if you have him on a roster. And then Evan Stewart at the 206. Evan's someone I love on this program. Our Patreon, we dived into a big old podcast between him and Luther Burden. We kind of looked at those two top guys and who we'd rather have. So we've seen all the advanced metrics and advanced stats. I've gone through the 2025 wide receiver class as well if you want to go check that out. But again, at the 206, not a bad value. Now, flip it over to the second half of this. Xavier Worthy, Drew Aller, other quarterback I'm willing to take. And at 208, I like that value right now. I'm willing to bet on Drew Aller. Don't mess him up, James Franklin. Jordan Addison, 209, 210, Zach Charbonnet, 211, Donovan Edwards, and we're going to kind of highlight him here in a minute. And then Will Levis at 212. And whatever you think of Will Levis, when you're looking at him from a quarterback superflex perspective, 212 is not a bad just shot. Like, hey, maybe he'd be a low-end QB2, good value. I'll take him there. But that's kind of where they're getting valued right now in terms of the Devy rookie space, right? Now, I do want to highlight Donovan Edwards. He's our consensus 5 here at the Devy Royale. But again, Corm coming back kind of jumps into his production a little bit. I don't know if Corm's going to be ready right at the start of the season. I still think Donovan Edwards is good just in terms of his receiving, right? And he had 200 yards receiving last year, but he had a broken hand most of the year towards the end of the year. So we didn't see that highlighted. I think he could have a big year there. I think on the ground, he's going to have a big year. So what can he be, right? Speed, burst. He went as running back for the 24 class in this one. Highest I've seen him go. So that's something to note. I think he does struggle sometime between the tackles. I think vision sometimes is what gets him. Size too. Is he really 204? Is he really 6'1", 204? Because I know BMI crowd is not going to like that too much. But that is something to note when you're looking at Donovan, right? Now, in the third round, let's jump in there. I'm just going to throw you all 12. We're going to put it out there. Michael Mayer going to 301, I think could be a value considering Brock Bowers and went at the 109, right? So when you're looking at tight end, hey, I need to grab one. Kendra Miller at the 302, Tank Bigsby, 303, Zach Evans. So this is basically the 23 class of running backs. Blake Corum, again, I don't want to draft Blake Corum in the third round. Look at all the talent around there. Branson Robinson could have a ceiling play, right? Malachi Nelson's there. Luther Burden. Like, there is no chance in hell I'm drafting Blake Corum over Luther Burden. And the reason why is just because of how I build my teams. Now, nothing against this pick. I just think Blake Corum's a declining asset and too much risk. But I could take Luther Burden and really, really insulate my value there. And I think that's the play. Malik Neighbors, Barian Brown, Devin Shane, and Kate Klubnik. That's kind of wrapped out the third round. When you're looking at Devin Shane, I just want to highlight him. I mean, people are really on him since he went up 188 pounds at the combine. Looking at 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, you could be that guy that you're betting on, right? He has the speed, he has that lateral agility, that vision. So Devin Shane might be that guy that, hey, it's late third, I'll take a shot on him in this kind of combined draft, and I'll let the chips lay where they are. And I think that could be the value play that you go for. Now, fourth round, this is kind of where we're going to see some freshmen kind of jumping in here. So we have Troy Franklin, Ja'Cory Brooks. I've been getting a lot of questions about Ja'Cory Brooks. And I think the biggest thing I want to say about Ja'Cory Brooks is, like, he didn't take over last year when they needed him. And I think that's a big red flag. And I like him. I think he could be a value. I think he's getting second round draft capital buzz, right? So he's not necessarily dead in the water, but him not taking over is a big red flag to me in that offense. And that's something to know. Dalton Kincaid went to 403, Josh Downs 404. And then we have Quinn Ewers, Zay Flowers. Then we're going to get a freshman run. So we got Zachariah Branch, Dante Moore, Arch Manning, Cedric Baxter from Texas. We've highlighted him as well. Antonio Williams at Clemson, and then Brandon Ennis at Ohio State. They're freshmen at Ohio State. So that's kind of how the fourth round plays out with those freshmen going off the board. So just to note, fourth round is where you're going to see that. This is where some of these freshmen are getting valued as opposed to their upperclassmen. Again, something that's really hard to tell in Devy circles, right? Trying to understand Devy value, that's important. Now, let's jump to the fifth round here. So when you're looking at the fifth round, we have Katron Allen, who I think is a value. Like, I really like Katron Allen from Penn State. Some think he's better than Nicholas Singleton already. So that's something to note. Jalen Hyatt there at the 502. Jackson Arnold, 503. CJ Williams, first time I've seen him drafted in these type of things. So that's something to note as well. With the Wisconsin, he transferred to USC. Devin Brown, interesting pick here. So we're looking at Devin Brown being there from Ohio State in a quarterback battle. Nico, he's at 506 Tennessee. Will Shipley kind of got lost in the shuffle here. I really feel like Will Shipley would have got drafted a little earlier, but this is Devy, so sometimes you miss guys, so that's something to know. But I will say Will Shipley has definitely fallen down draft boards and value boards. So that is also something I've noticed in drafts. Will Shipley's really going down. And before he was going in the first round at the beginning of the year, I've actually seen him almost slip to the third round. So in this combined draft, fourth, fifth, I mean, it's not out of the question. Connor Wiegman at 508, 509 Matthew Golden, Tajay Spears 510, 511 JJ McCarthy, 5'12" is Marvin Mims. I had some questions about JJ. I think JJ is on the path of coming back for his senior year. I think he could, unless he has a huge breakout. Maybe he does that, but as a Michigan guy, I'd be concerned about drafting JJ in a Devy draft. 6th round, jumping here, Luke Musgrave, Roshan Johnson, Trey Benson continues to be a value in Devy. He is someone to kind of look at if you're in those leagues. Justice Haynes, though, going to the 6th, I definitely would probably taking a shot on Justice Haynes there. He is a stud. I'm gonna have a video out if you watch this before the video comes out on the 2026 running backs here. I think that's a value. Sean Tucker, Mario Williams, Javonte Citizen is not cleared to play yet. I don't think he's going to be playing in the spring game, so that's a big red flag. So if you're thinking about maybe drafting Javonte Citizen, that's something to realize as you go into this draft. He might not be ready to go. Israel Benacanda, Jace Brown, Darnell Washington, Keyshawn Butte, and then Trevor Etienne. There is no way I'm drafting Keyshawn Butte at this level with Trevor Etienne and these guys still on the board. So that's something there to look at. And in the last round here, and again, we would try to go deep on this. We try to give you kind of some value at where you're seeing some guys. Cedric Tillman, Hendon Hooker, McMillan from Arizona, A.T. Perry, Wake Forest, Jaden Reed, Ruben Owens at 706, Rashee Rice at 707, Jonte Cook, really, really stud Texas wide receiver. I really like Cook. Man, if you can get him in the 7th round, I really like that value because Jonte Cook can really be special in that Texas offense, especially with Arch Manning moving forward. He's going to make Arch look really good. Maybe Quinn Ewers this year if Quinn Ewers can get his head out of his ass. Eric Gray at the 709. Bucky Irving's a guy to look at Oregon. Deuce Vaughn from Kansas State, little guy there. And then Dante Thornton, who I think is continually being slept on by everybody in the Devy community. Going to Tennessee, there's nothing more that you should want. Going to a high-powered offense, willing to go. He's going to go get targets. He's going to go earn it. I think they underutilized him at Oregon the last couple years, and now he's going to go to an offense that could see him as wide receiver 1, right? I know I don't need Brew McCoy truthers to come yelling at me, but that could be the value there. So I want to go through the list real quick again before we get out of here. So here's the 1st round. Here's the 2nd round. And then we're going to bounce through the 3rd round, 4th round, 5th, 6th, and 7th. So that's kind of how it does. I definitely recommend stopping that, pausing it. All right, where's the value at? But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on this mock draft. I hope you found it valuable. Let me know in the comments if you think this was stupid. Put it in there too. I don't mind getting called stupid. I'm sure everybody does it anyway. So let me know. Hey, yeah, this helped me. I appreciate the value. I appreciate it there. Check out our Patreon below. You can join $3 a month. It's with all kinds of loaded content there for you guys. We have a big update coming in the manifesto as well. So appreciate you guys. I'll check you guys next time.